That makes a lot more sense. I apologize for that. But we did do this PC build. I'm really super excited to show you guys. I haven't just benchmarked it yet, and but I did pair again a B850 ASUS Tough Gaming Plus motherboard with a 9600X. Those two together, you could currently get a B850 Wi-Fi plus gaming motherboard for as low as 200 USD. Currently on a Newegg. And you can also get the AMD processor for $220. So there it's only 420, just those two components. You have the LC, you have the LC 360 cooler, which is only 150, which brings it up to 550. And then all the other parts, such as the RAM, the SSD. The RAM was about $92, which was the Corsair Vengeance 6000 megahertz of RAM. And I also paired it with a Crucial P3 Plus SSD, which is NVMe PCI Express 4. So it was only $62. And then the case was only $75, and it came with some case fans. It actually came with 320 millimeter fans, and it came with one 140 millimeter fan. And most importantly, one of the more expensive pieces, or both of the most expensive pieces, was the AMD RX 9070 XT, which was the Sapphire Nitro Plus, and it was also the Seasonic. We decided to go with the PG 1000, which is a 100 plus platinum power supply. So it's super power efficient and won't use, even if you're at 100% power efficiency, meaning like if you're gaming or you doing some sort of heavy workload, you're only going to be using about 90%. It's going to be 90% power efficient compared to other power supplies where they can take up a lot more power. Say if you go with the 80 plus bronze, it's going to take up, like, at the maximum, say 80% efficient compared to this power supply. So you would certainly save a big savings, especially when it comes to your electricity bill, excuse me. Yeah, so you would definitely save on that end. So sometimes it's a little bit better to get a better power supply. Not only will it last you long, because again, Seasonics has up to 10 years warranty when it comes to their power supplies. And with that warranty, again, you could use it as hard as you want, no pun intended, but you could game as much as you want it, and it shouldn't give you any issues. If it does, the good thing is it does have that 10-year warranty to protect you, and you can easily get it replaced, and they usually don't give any issues. And in fact, Seasonic is one of those top companies out there. A lot of other companies actually contact Seasonic to make their power supplies for them, such as I think ASUS contacted Seasonic to help their power supplies before. You have Gigabyte. You have other companies that do reach out to Seasonic in order to reach and to create their power supply. So they're highly recommended. And the best part is they're really quiet. So if you're looking for something decent, especially if you're getting a newer power supply, I'd highly recommend going Seasonic. But enough about that. But in the end, the build only ended up being about about 1820 total. So it's $1,820. And again, that's under the price of an RTX 5090. And let alone you have the RTX 5090 where they have the AIBs where they can cover up to, it can be up to $3,200 to $3,500 for some of these RTX 5090s, and you don't even have a PC. That's the funny part. You can actually do a whole build and then some. You can actually even get peripherals. You can get whatever you want. You can get a monitor. Again, if you're just getting into PCs, you don't have to spend $6,000 or $7,000 for the best PC ever. That's completely not necessary. You could start off with a PC such as this, and it's very cost effective, and you'll enjoy it just as much as that high-end gaming PC. The only difference is the higher end gaming PCs such as the RTX 5090, the difference is you can actually get 4K at, say, 240 hertz. So does that really matter to you? Does that matter that you get a full 240 hertz and 4K? Or does it matter more that you're just gaming on what you want to game, so on a 4K 60 or even 4K 120 you can even do, and you'll still get decent frame rates? And again, you're only spending about $1,820 on a PC build such as this. Now, the difference is if you're deciding to, you have to figure out what type of games that you would like to play on your PC first. So, what type of games are you into? Are you into games such as Fortnite? Are you more into games, say, the Kingdom Come 2, or are you more into those type of games like Monster Hunter Wilds? Because those would be the specifications to really base your PC build off of, and then you would have a very decent idea of what type of list that you would need in order for to build the PC. And for everyone that's just joining in, or if you're unfamiliar with who I am, I'm Chris Mizo. I usually talk about PCs and tech. Feel free to join the Discord channel. It's free. Don't worry about it. So you can talk to the community. It's a fan bam community, and we love to talk about PCs and tech on there. And also, just to let you guys know, I am giving away a Samsung 990 Pro SSD. It's also PCI Express 4. You could put this even inside of a PlayStation 5, even if you don't have a PC. So hopefully you get a chance to win this Samsung 990 Pro. And it would be, the link is actually on my live on YouTube. Unfortunately, I can't put it up on TikTok, or I can't put it up onto Twitch in those areas, but it is up on my YouTube for the link. And there's also some of Jonas tees, which is this merch here, that I will be giving some away as well. So make sure to feel free to join. Also, if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask, and I am willing to help you out and answer some of those questions. If you're thinking about switching from console over to PC, let me know. Or if you're thinking of switching over, sorry about that. Or if you're thinking of switching over from, say, a older PC build that you have. Maybe you're coming from the 10th generation of Intel, and you're thinking about going into a new era of PC gaming, especially how different it is now from DDR4 to DDR5. Everything changed to 4 to 5 practically, from either if it's the RAM or if it's PCI Express. So the only difference with those two is the usually it doubles in speeds. With the RAM, it's a little bit different. They're starting to get faster and faster with DDR5 memory. Now they're getting clocks. I think it was G.Skill that says that they're coming out with a newer card, not newer card, but coming out with some new RAM. That's CL26, which is super low latency that you can take advantage of. And but again, the megahertz is about 6,000 on it, and they will have higher frequency memory that will also be released, where you can also take advantage of it. And again, that all depends on the type of games that you choose to play. Especially if you're playing games such as like more single player focused games, it's going to matter on the speed of the RAM. Now, it's not going to matter as much about the capacity, because the capacity, it's good to start off with at least 32 gigabytes of RAM. If you're going to game, definitely go off of that. Don't go with 16, go with 32 gigabytes. And this is RAM I'm talking about, and not the GPU. If you go off with 32 gigabytes, it's a good way to start. Or even now they got kits where they start off at 48 gigabytes, so that way you can take advantage of a little bit more capacity, because there's certain games out there and which I'll name, which is like Black Ops 6, for example. Sometimes they have issues, and when they first released, they had issues when it came to memory leaks. And in order to fix those memory leaks, you would have to close out some applications, but you would notice it right away. You would see that the capacity would be taken up, and this is all for 32 gigabytes of RAM. You would see the capacity be taken up to, say, like up to 90%, which that was complete BS for sure, because it should not be taken up that much memory. But eventually, over time, it did end up getting patched, and it's good to have extra space in there, just in case if you do run into something like that, or an issue like that. So 48 gigabytes is also a good one to start off with. So I'd say between 32 to 48. 64 is really good, but again, it's unnecessary. More than likely, you won't use it unless you're planning on to doing more things like multitasking, such as gaming and streaming, all in one PC. It would be good. It's always good to have a little bit more capacity when you're doing something like that, because then you'll have more ability to move around. You'll have less issues with temporary memory, practically, when you open up so many different so many different tasks. But then again, I would say the golden spot for gaming and streaming together would be between 48 to 64 gigabytes. So now I gotta say too, when it comes to gaming, what type of peripherals or what type of items do you prefer? You can always go off of controllers. You could either go through keyboards. The best part when it comes to PC gaming, you do have a large variety of options to choose when you do get into PC gaming. So if you like Xbox controllers personally, you can use the Xbox controller. If you like DualSense controllers, you could go DualSense controllers. One of my personal favorite ones here is the Scuff Vision Pro. I love this controller, I really do. It's a PC exclusive controller, but there you go, so you can see it. I definitely recommend it. It's a great controller because you could swap out joysticks, you could swap out buttons. They actually got a ton of triggers on the back of here, which I personally like. And but you do have a ton of options when it comes to gaming on PC, and you don't really have to limit yourself to what the console's limitations are. Because if you're playing on something like, say, a PS5, or if you're playing on an Xbox, you won't be able to enjoy other controllers as much. You just have the limited compatibility for the controllers that you choose for that console. So let me be right back. I'm gonna take a quick break, guys. Let's see. Just gotta grab some water here. Oh man, I've been like sick like at least 3 times. I feel like this year. The one last time I thought I was gonna get sick again, but it turned out it was like I ended up getting like ulcer in my mouth or something, and then luckily I didn't get sick that time. But this came out of nowhere. I just thought it was like too dry yesterday, and in Florida it usually gets you know how Florida is. It can be dry, but yesterday was kind of like that weird. Just the humidity came out of nowhere. It started raining. Our first thunderstorm of the year, and then my throat started hurting. So I was hoping that it was just the dry air, but the next day it felt a little bit worse, and then I started to get a little bit more mucus production. Let's see, go back here. All right, I had to grab some fresh water. Feel a little bit better after that. So feel free to ask any questions. For anyone that's joining in or just joining in, I'm Chris Mizo. I talk about PC and tech. And if you're into PC building, you definitely came to the right place, because we will talk about anything about PC building here, regardless if you're choosing to do an upgrade or if you're choosing to build a fresh PC. If it's your first time, let me know. That's always exciting. Don't be petrified. Maybe you are doubting yourself and you want to get a pre-built PC. Perfectly understand that. And but I gotta tell you, if you've never built a PC before, it is more easier today than it was before, certainly, because they have. Oh, what's up, Mongoose? We're talking about PC builds, and we're also talking about PCs and tech. So, welcome to the chat. Forgive my my sinuses, because I'm not sounding too great. But if you're into PC builds, or if you're just upgrading your PC, feel free to mention what you are planning to do. Currently, we just finished our channel's build, the Fan Bam. We all came together and we went to Micro Center to go purchase a lot of the parts for the build. The only thing that we were provided, thanks to ASUS, we got the ASUS B850 Tough Gaming Plus motherboard, and we also got the ASUS LC360, which is their prime cooler. It comes with a 2.3-inch display screen. What's up, Johnny? Yeah. So those two parts came in. Thanks, Mongoose. And there's also, we ended up getting the 9600X. We all voted on it to get it at Micro Center, so we got that. And we ended up getting the Crucial P3 Plus, and we also got the Corsair Vengeance 6000 megahertz, which we ended up pairing all together. And we also, the biggest thing we got was the two biggest things, I should say, is we got the Sapphire Nitro Plus 9070 XT. We got that card, and we also got the Seasonic P1000, which was their 80 plus platinum power supply. So we ended up, what's up, Jeb? It's good to see you guys. Really good to see you. I apologize for anyone who was trying to get in earlier. For some reason on my YouTube vertical side, it didn't automatically start. It's supposed to usually automatically start, so I had to go in there manually. So I definitely apologize for that, but don't worry, guys. I plan on being here for a little while. I'm definitely here to talk about this PC build. And for everyone that's just joining in, just to let you guys know, the PC build is complete. And it's not officially up on the channel just quite yet, but it is complete. And it was quite the build, and it's quite impressive. Also, one thing to note too, I gotta say, I failed to mention this in the video to let you guys know, if you do plan to get the B850 Tough Gaming Plus motherboard, and you do install it, just be really careful with these GPUs now, because they're a lot more thicker now. So you just have to, when you line up that the PCI Express bus, just be really careful before you can kind of go whichever angle to install a graphics card. But it seems like now it's better to go onto the top side of your PC, like where the top end would sit usually, and install the graphics card, because then you can see the gold fingers to your graphics card to install it and latch into place. Otherwise, if you're in the other angle, you can't really see anything, and you're trying to guess and trying to plug it into place. And the thing with ASUS's B850 quick release, the lever there, it's quite large, so it's easy to catch the gold fingers on there if you're not looking. So just please be mindful if you do plan on getting the ASUS B850 Tough Gaming Plus motherboard, to give you guys a heads up. And also with the ASUS side also is that if you had the X870E and you did purchase it prior to, I think, February, you have the Q release where it is where you hold it at a certain angle and you're able to lift up the card or lift up the graphics card, and you'll be able to release it. Now some cases have issues with it, and then some other benchmarks would have even issues of it trying to pull out. So ASUS is addressing the issue, but they're quietly kind of addressing the issue. It's not really fully publicly out. But what they're doing is, if you notice the way the PCI Express bus is when it comes to ASUS boards, they have this metallic frame around it, and they have one for the large side of the PCI Express gold fingers, and they have one for the small side of the gold fingers of the GPU. Now, right in between it, there's this metal bar. And what they did was they removed the metal bar that's between the PCI Express slot, so that way when you install the card, it'll be a lot more smoother to remove instead of trying to kind of fight it, because they believe that it would catch. But again, only time will tell, and we'll see what happens. I have yet pulled my 4090 out of the motherboard yet. I'm kind of nervous about it, to be honest, because if we put another card into that build, we'll see what happens, see if it ends up catching. And a big update too for those who have ASRock boards. If you have an AM5 ASRock board, let me know. Put one, if you have one, let me know, because it's pretty funny what they said. If you haven't heard about their issues with the 9800X3D installations, or if any other processors you may have heard, when it came to installing it with the AM5s. Oh, thanks, Mongoose. I appreciate it. The funny thing is, if you install the 9800 X3D or any other 9000 series processor into the motherboard, same thing with the 7000 series processors. When you put it into that motherboard, for some reason, like even if you did a BIOS update onto that motherboard, it would burn out the CPU. When you lift up your processor on the bottom, you would see a little scorch mark on this very specific area of the motherboard. So people came and drew up a conclusion. And this is not just one person, this is multiple people that said, this can't be a coincidence. It must be something wrong with the board, or maybe it just didn't sit flush. Originally, that's what it seemed like. It wasn't sitting flush. Hey, what's up, Jacob? Oh, thanks. Hope the rest of the day is relaxing. Me too. It's been crazy. I just actually got out of work. I had to hurry up, cook dinner and everything, and I had to end up setting up the stream so I can make sure that I can definitely get all the information out to you guys, because I don't want to miss it for the world. And for some reason, I got sick. Unfortunately, I got sick. I don't know how. I got sick yesterday. I don't know if it was the weather or not, but yeah, it's pretty messed up. So now I'm trying to hydrate and definitely continue my stream. I'm fighting for you guys out there. But going back to the ASRock board, so ASRock investigated the issue. So they heard about this issue. Now they investigate it. They bring it into the lab. They're running all sorts of tests and everything to it. And their conclusion on their report says that they found out that these ASRock motherboards, the AM5 socket motherboards, had debris in them. Some of them had some debris to where they would get caught between the processor and the actual socket. But what do you do at that point? You can't really grab a... Is just curious though. Thoughts on Intel's Ultra lineup? I'll come. Yeah, sure. I'll answer your question just in a moment, Jacob. I will definitely answer that. Going with the, so what they said is that there's debris on there. So with the debris, what are you supposed to do? Grab a toothbrush and go over the pins? And just to let you know, I don't suggest to do that in the first place, because you're gonna bend the pins, and if you bend those pins, that's it. You have to replace the socket practically. So definitely don't do that. Or don't try to grab any type of cloth to wipe it off. That's just a big mess that you'll run into if you attempt that anyway. Best thing to do is, if you want to clear out any debris, is just grab like one of those air cans you usually use for your keyboards or for your case, or if you have an air gun, you can use that to kind of blow out the air out of the motherboard socket and the keyboard as well. The same type of air gun that will usually remove any debris, but I still find the findings a bit ridiculous, and I feel that there's going to be more to come, because in all the years that I'm sure everybody out there who's built PCs, and including myself, has never had issues with debris and CPUs installing them. So Jacob, to respond to your question, my thoughts about Intel's lineup, I'd say currently I think their 14th gen is definitely the best one. Reason being is because their speeds are still a lot quicker. They've been quite a mess. I gotta say, like the best processor, if you're planning to get theirs, is like the 14900K, or even the 14700K if you want to go more into the gaming side, depending on your usage. They're also great when it comes to, say, content creation. They're great processors for it. They actually perform really well when it comes to Photoshop, or when it comes to Premiere, or but on the other side, I gotta say the Ultra series isn't as great. I don't know what happened there, to be honest, because like the 285K, it's slower than the 14900K, and for some reason there's more power draw on top of it, so it doesn't make a lot of sense for you to go to the 15th gen. Now I gotta say, supposedly from what I'm hearing, with the 16th gen, it's gonna be quite exciting. There's rumors about Intel's 18A, which is going to match up with TSMC's 2nm nodes. So that would be incredible if they did, which would make it a lot more competitive compared to AMD. But again, this is only time will tell when that actually happens, because now, just yesterday, I was also reading that kind of doesn't make sense, the engineering plans for it, because it almost seems like it's more like a 5 nanometer node. So until they actually have the processor out, we'll know a little bit more about Intel. But I do honestly hope that Intel does get better. We do need a little bit more competition when it comes to the PC space, because AMD's practically taken over the whole processing space. And when it comes to GPUs, we all know that NVIDIA is practically taken up the whole space when it comes to the GPU side. But the good thing is AMD's finally fighting back. And if you saw the numbers, they're quite impressive for AMD's RX 9070 XTs. They actually got 10 times more the sales than the RTX 5070 Ti's. So it's quite incredible, their number. They actually beat them out in sales. Now, some people may argue that it's due to the fact that they just didn't have enough supply. That it's sort of NVIDIA's fault for doing that. And because they didn't have enough supply, then they just couldn't fulfill the demand. But honestly, I don't think that's really 100% true. I think the availability of the RTX 5070 Ti was much more simpler compared to the RTX 5090s. Even the 5080s are a bit easier than the 5090s. 5090s were the hardest one to get 100% out the bunch. But I'd highly suggest that I think AMD for sure will have to invest into getting better chipsets and have to get more involved when it comes to the graphics cards making, because they definitely, I'm sure they see the capability that they could be a very competitive GPU. They certainly can. Lisa Su said herself that they want to make sure that they come out with more competitive GPUs. So in that case, I don't know if we'll see it, but by this year, if we do, that would be nice. But to be honest, they probably really didn't have any intentions or plans of making it. They didn't think the RX 9070 XT was going to be this successful. And because it was so successful, it's kind of like, okay, we're going to put some more R&D on this and try to figure out exactly what we can do and how we can be more competitive in the GPU space. And I certainly hope they do. That hopefully they give some fight to it, because it would be nice to have something compete against something like the RTX 5090. That would be quite impressive. I don't know if they could go all out and go G7, because that'd be wild. That would be really wild if they did. That would be cool. But I don't think they would. It would probably still be like G6. And I think with G6X, I from what I remember reading or hearing before, is that G6X is NVIDIA's exclusive, unfortunately. But when it comes to just regular G6, of course, that's what AMD uses currently on their RX 9070s. And hopefully when they do go, say, 9080s, when left that 9080 XTX, a 32 gigabyte one, I think that would be quite the beast. I think that would be very competitive against even the RTX 4090 possibly. But again, it's going to be quite the scale difference when it comes to ray tracing, and it will be also the scale difference when it comes path tracing. Those two, there will still be somewhat of a generation behind, and with path tracing, there'll be a couple generations behind. But again, they still perform phenomenally. So it's definitely a card not to really skip over, and highly recommend the card. I can't wait to benchmark it, especially this PC is built, but I definitely wanted to let you guys know about that PC build. Let me see something, guys. I noticed the chat's not coming up for you guys over here, so I just want to make sure that you guys are getting it. Oh, I know why. Let me just open this up and auto find and activate. It's gonna, there we go. Perfect. I apologize for that. There we go. Now the chat should pop up. So I'm just gonna type something. Hopefully the lighting is perfectly well. There we go. Perfect. All right. So, if you guys are just joining in, I'm Chris Mizo. I love to talk about PCs and tech, and everybody else I'm sure here also into PCs and tech, and are into PC builds. And it's been quite the week when it came to the whole PC building community, especially when it comes to GPUs, CPUs. Actually, remember Meteor Lake? Speaking of which, Meteor Lake was also something that was rumored to come out. That was supposed to be like the 15th gen. Everybody thought it was going to be, and apparently that leaked out. And what they ended up using, it wasn't really that quick. It's really not that powerful, so they benched it. It's pretty weak. So it doesn't have the full capabilities, just like it doesn't have any type of what do you call it, threading onto those CPUs. So they're really no good. They were 100% designed for laptops for sure, even though it seemed like that they were going to be quite the beast originally when they came out. Another thing that was also funny I felt too was during the whole GTC event is that how Pat Gelsinger, he even felt that Nvidia is charging way too much for their process nodes, which is something that I can definitely see. Hey, how you doing? And I could see him 100% charge a lot. I think he's right on it. I know he probably has some bitter feelings currently with Intel because of him being let go. And with him being let go, I could see certainly that Intel is going to the right direction now. Originally, they thought he was going to be a big change to their company. What's up, bro? And he was going to be a big change to the company, and unfortunately he wasn't the guy. So hopefully the new CEO, he's actually really good. He's supposed to be really good, and he's supposed to be doing some different things to affect them. Hold on, guys. I apologize again. It looks like, all right, it's getting some of it. I miss you too, bro. What's I need, bro? Let me just connect to, all right. I apologize for this. I'll be in Taiwan in July. I'll be in Taiwan in July. So I'll be there then. Yep. Hopefully you guys can, for some reason the other chat's not coming up. Okay, there we go. All right, no biggie. But all right, getting back to the whole PC side of things. If you're just joining the channel, I am doing a giveaway. I am giving out a 990 Pro, Samsung 990 Pro. If you're interested in trying to get this, make sure you go to the link right down below. It's a giveaway. Hopefully one of you get it. It does come with the heatsink, so you can install it inside of a PS5 if you wanted to, or you can put it inside of a PC. But I typically suggest to remove the heatsink if you're going to put it into your PC. All right, I'll see you later. And typically I would recommend to remove the heatsink and install it into your PC. And if you remove the heatsink, then it's a lot better because typically the motherboard heatsinks work better than compared to what they usually give you. I've even ran tests on it before. I tried Gigabytes. I could try Samsung's to see if it's any better. And but usually the motherboard ones aren't that much of a difference, to be honest. for sure, I gotta say the Samsung 9100 Pro, from what I've seen on the benchmarks, it doesn't really seem as impressive as I originally thought it would reach. Now, I don't know if this was a defective one, but it will reach speeds of up to 14,000 megabytes per second, which is great. Those are the speeds that you should expect, especially when it comes to writing or when it comes to reading or sequential speeds. But once it passes a certain length of time, once it passes about a minute or two, then it starts to downgrade. Yes, welcome E1, welcome. Yes, the fan bam is all here. So once it hits that speed, once it hits like a minute or two, then it drops down to 7,000 megabytes, just like if it was PCI Express 4. So it'll write for maybe a minute in PCI Express 5, but then it just drops down in speed, which is a big, big, big red flag, especially if you're trying to get your hands on the on something that is supposed to be PCI Express 5. Now, they also even tested with writing speeds as well when it comes with, and it did the same exact thing. It would go to 14,000 megabytes per second, and then it would just drop down after a minute or two. It would go right back down to 7,000 megabytes per second. So this SSD, which cost about, for 4 terabytes, is about $450, which is insane. And then you're going to end up getting PCI Express 4 speeds anyway. So that's not really what you're looking for in NVMe or in PCI Express 4. You would expect that in PCI Express 4, but you're paying PCI Express 5 money. So that makes absolutely no sense. And guys, you got to check this cup out. This is what I was talking about here, the Micro Center cups that they were giving out the other day. These are pretty dope. And that's when the store first opened. When the store first opened, it was in, I think it was, what was it, August of 2024. They were giving out these mugs, and I had to take advantage of it. But that was amazing of Micro Center to give something like these away, because I use it every day. Is 5500 with X6600 XT okay? Is it good? Yeah, I mean, it's certainly good. It's certainly good. It wouldn't be negative in any way. Let me see. Let me see if I can connect you guys, because I'm getting I am getting the vertical chat, but it isn't going through to communicate to you guys. So I'll make sure to get in here. Just hang on real quick, guys. I apologize for this. I just want to connect you guys so you can see each other. Let's see. Just give me a second. Yeah. Hopefully you got your guys' days has been going well. I've been a little bit under the weather, unfortunately. I don't know which budget case to get. I want to get a back panel because of the cable management. Oh, yeah. Take a look at the Monotech case. It was actually quite impressive. It's called the Monotech Air 3. I think I have it linked. I don't know if I have it linked on the video. If I do, check it out. It's definitely a great case. It comes with 320 millimeter fans, and it comes with 140 millimeter fan. You got plenty of room to work on. I can't wait to show you the finished product, because the PC that we were planning on building is finally together, and that video will be released. That video will also be released in on this Saturday at 8 a.m. So definitely don't miss it. Don't miss it for the world. Let's see. Right now, I'm just trying to connect my account here, and of course. All right, it wants to play games. Which one is it? Oh, that's why. It's this one. And we go up here. go. Now it should be okay. Hopefully that worked. That, and let me go on the other one real quick, just to make sure that we're all here together. There we go. That's in. And I want to make sure this is in as well. Perfect. Yep, the Montech Air 3. That's the case. And for some reason, it's still didn't come up. All right, let me see. Let me close out of that. I'll go back in it. Oh. Hopefully it didn't kick me out of the live. There we go. Perfect. And there we go. Yeah, the Montech Air 3 is a really good case. It's only about $75, I think it is. And the case offers again 320 millimeter fans. It comes with a 140 millimeter fan. It comes with the filter for the PSU. Also comes with the top magnetic filter as well. Also the front of it's really nice. It has a front filter where you can easily pull off, which is magnetic. It's ventilated very well. It's designed very well. Very easy to set up. I recommend just of course releasing all the cables first before you do it. It also has USB-C on the front panel, if you're wondering about that. It's also 2 USB 3.0 ports. Has a power port where you can also do has a power button, and it also has a reset button, so you can also reset the PC very easily. So it's a great case, certainly, and definitely happy with it, especially for it being such on a budget. And with this case, if you're wondering what I built with it, it was the B850 ASUS Tough Gaming Plus motherboard, and it was also with the AMD 9600X, also even with the Sapphire Nitro Plus 9070 XT. Also came with the Corsair Vengeance 6000 megahertz of RAM, and I also installed the ASUS Prime LC360 LCD cooler on with this build. And again, it was a very low build. It still cost it a lot cheaper than the RTX 5090, so it certainly can be done. And you can definitely build a PC, a budget build, for well under 2,000 if you really wanted to, for 2025. For those who are wondering if they feel that it's impossible to build a PC for that price. The only way it'll be impossible if you spend money on a RTX 5090, because you're going to be way above that price anyway as it is. So it's pretty insane that you can build a PC for the price of a RTX 5090 and then some. And you can even get some extra parts where you can get a monitor even, or you can even get that Wi-Fi 7 router that you've been wanting for real cheap. But yeah, certainly, it certainly can be done. Also, and I gotta say, for this week, it's been certainly interesting. I hope AMD does step up their game when it comes to their GPUs. I think they certainly have the power to be able to really compete with NVIDIA, but I wonder when they're gonna do it, because if they wait too long, it might be too dangerous then for them. Because NVIDIA is supposed to release some new cards or some new stock, but again, we're still in a very, very dry area of a dry spell of NVIDIA cards, and we probably won't see them. I mean, technically, we're only a few days away from May. Not May. We're only a few days away from April, and then next thing you know, it'll be May. So we're supposed to get a lot. We were supposed to get a lot more in March, but unfortunately, that happened. Hey, what's up, Plano? Welcome. We were supposed to get a lot more then, but unfortunately, some things happened with NVIDIA. I don't think it was like really officially announced. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about yourself? And I gotta say, it's just been terrible on NVIDIA side when it comes to their stock supply. They said that they will recover it. Also, some breaking news as well too with NVIDIA. If you are interested in it, NVIDIA came out with this AI assist that you can also download. Oh, sorry about that. Something came up there. I gotta answer this puzzle real quick. All right, there we go. But unfortunately, I'm not unfortunately, but NVIDIA came out with this AI assist you can download. That's good to hear. It's good to hear, Plano. But also, they are coming out with this AI assist. You can download it. It supports cards that are anything above the RTX 40 series. So if you have a 40 series and up, from what I know, it supports it. I think it's called NVIDIA AI Assist. And you can use it on your desktop to help you figure out what is you can ask it questions about new drivers. You could ask it for the best settings, and that's what it'll do for you. It'll actually do the different settings for you. It can help you out in that sense. So NVIDIA is trying to do that, and AMD is also kind of in that realm. I've seen them doing this for a little while, where they have a AI assist, where you just type the image that's in your mind. You can type it out and kind of AI generated images. So I know they're already on that level. So I wouldn't be surprised if if AMD decided to come out with their own AI program. But at this point, it almost seems like there's going to be an AI program for everything, which is pretty crazy. And for certain, I gotta say, it's going to be interesting, especially this upcoming April, to see how the stock supply is going to be. Will NVIDIA ever recover from releasing more cards? And you can certainly see the difference, especially if you go in places like eBay. You can see that they're not selling as fast as they were. You see some cards that are not selling for that much over. Some cards are selling for like they're a little bit over 3,500. Some cards are selling for over a little bit over at the most I've seen maybe a little bit over 4,500, but that's it. I haven't seen it really go to that 6,000 mark anymore, which is a good sign. It means that soon stock supply should restore itself. People are probably losing a lot more interest in the card as well at the same time, but then again, that falls on NVIDIA's part, because AMD has certainly done a good job when it comes to the RX 9070 XTs. Especially that you can undervolt it, and you have very decent game clock speeds. Like this, the Sapphire Nitro Plus, you can get over 3.04 gigahertz, right? And you can undervolt it. So with NVIDIA, it just requires more of a power draw. You're running at over 525 watts, and then plus you probably will attempt to undervolt it in order for you to take advantage of those, take advantage of the 5090 if you can still. But it's going to be interesting to see if NVIDIA is really going to try to continue taking over, or will they kind of fall back a little bit because they're more focused on their AI servers, because that's been a very, very, very big section for them currently. But the good news is we got this PC built. So this PC is already built. I built it actually over the past weekend, so I'm definitely very excited to share it with you guys. It's going to be unveiled on Saturday, and I will also do a live again afterwards. This time I'll go live at 10 o'clock, around 10 to 2. Not 10 to 2, I mean 10 to 12. I'll do a live then, and we can discuss it a little bit more. But this PC build involves as a ASUS B850 Tough Gaming Plus motherboard. It comes with a 9600X processor, Corsair Vengeance 6000 megahertz with 32 gigabytes of RAM. It's also Crucial P3 SSD, and it also has the Sapphire Nitro Plus RX 9070 XT, and it also has the ASUS Prime uh, LC360 cooler. And it has an LCD display where it displays the temperatures and the CPU draw and everything on there, which is really nice. Inside of a Monitech 3, yes, 100% fiery. AMD's GPUs are 100% underrated, and it's really quite a beautiful card. Like, just putting in there was it just looks amazing. And the wonderful thing is you can undervolt these cards, and again, their boost clocks are very low. I mean, their boost clocks are excellent, and you can undervolt it and it won't get as hot, which is really nice compared to something where like NVIDIA, where you're drawing much more power current, and you're going to, in order for you to reach higher clock speeds, which is insane. And the thing is, Fire is completely right about AMD being like completely underrated, because the thing is, you have a card where it's drawing a lot of power compared to the 40 series. And the 40 series, they're both the same node. They're both 5 nanometer nodes. And the only difference is the chipset's a little bit different. You have Ada Lovelace and Blackwell. Blackwell and Ada Lovelace are the same exact node, size anyway, but it requires more power draw on the Blackwell chip. So then it just ends up being almost like a RTX 4090 Super, but just without DirectX 9 and without PhysX, unfortunately. So those are big losses, I gotta say, on the 5090 on that side. So in order for you to play any of the old games that you like, say like you like to play games such as New Vegas or something like that, you have to have another card to play with it. But as with AMD, you have very decent clock speeds, which again, this card's running at 3.04 gigahertz at boost clocks, and it's at 16 gigabytes. Like, I feel like NVIDIA is increasing their GPU value like crazy because their brand is so popular. I agree. I agree with that. Because that's the thing is, and it's because they know they can sell it. And Afari is correct on this as well, because they know that demand's there. If you're NVIDIA and you take up so much of the market share as it is, and you control the GPU market, you can kind of set it to however you like. Kind of like how the RTX 50, the RTX 4090, when it first was released, it was at 1500 USD. And then once they released the RTX 5090, then they pushed it up another $500. But then they made it seem like it was a great deal for the RTX 5080 to be at 1,000, because again, they got a lot of backlash originally for the RTX 4090. I mean, not 4080. No. And the same thing with the RTX 5070 Ti's even. And they have received a lot of backlash from that, because it's almost like the pricing was nearly identical with the 5070 Ti's and the 5080s, even between if you compare the AIBs. But it's almost like they're lost in pricing to where it nearly doesn't make any sense. And Pat Gelsinger could be right too, what he said at the GTC convention, even though he probably sounds like a disgruntled disgruntled employee, as he said that NVIDIA charges too much for their fabs. And another problem too is NVIDIA always is monitoring Intel to see if they come out with nodes that they're interested in, but they never really go and purchase from Intel themselves, because to them, they're not as impressed with their nodes, unfortunately. Yes, exactly. And they halted. Yep. And that's a big issue too. And the very interesting thing too is what NVIDIA likes to do is make it seem like there is a lot more demand for their product because of the scarcity. If you really look at it, all micro centers like across the board all had 274 274 GPUs, RTX 5090s all across nationwide. Now you're telling me out of nearly 400 million people in the US alone, you're gonna just put out 274? Sure, you can divide up the nation easily, right? but it just doesn't make any sense to just release 274 cards. There's definitely 274, uh, more than 274 people interested in purchasing a RTX 5090. And I gotta admit, when I was at CES 2025, when I was there, I was very interested in trying to get that card. But it was so hard to get one. Dave S says it will be interesting when GPUs are being made in the USA. Let's hope that day actually comes. Yeah, I mean, it eventually it will. It's a very time-consuming process, and it's probably going to take a few years for them to do that. You probably hear my dog just scuffling around, but yeah, it's going to be a lengthy process when they do it. TSMC already built a factory in Arizona as it is, and they plan on building, I think it's 3 more fabs, they said, maybe in Arizona and Texas. That's typically where they do the fabs. And I'd buy a Patriot card for sure. Oh, Patriot would be great too. And there's a lot of makers that were out there originally that it's sad to say you don't really see them as often anymore. I mean, I think Intel will probably be, I agree. Intel will 100% be the first. Again, they'll be very competitive when it comes to their 18A, which is supposed to be very close to the 2 nanometer node from what they're claiming. But as further studies, it seems like it's closer to a 5 nanometer node. But at least they're trying to get more competitive. They're trying to take up more edge. So NVIDIA and AMD already got settled. Yeah, pretty much. Because they've been out there for so long. But they already get, most of the world takes a lot of their semiconductors from TSMC, which it's a great company too. And I 100% support TSMC too on top of it. But I know for sure that one day there will have more produced products for sure in the US. And when they do, they'll definitely release more cards. Not more cards, but more processors and more cards that will be produced from the US, and it'll be a lot cheaper for sure. But going on to the next subject here, so far with this build, I'm very excited to share with you guys about it, and I really want to benchmark it because I'm going to put Monster Hunter's Wilds and compare it with the RTX 4090 to see how it compares with it. Now I'm going to have frame generation on and off just to get an idea of what it's going to look like. This isn't going to be in the upcoming video this Saturday. On this Saturday, it will just be practically the PC build coming together just to show you what it looks like and how it's going to look like. And more than likely within the next week, I will have the benchmarks posted because I want to go through a thorough test. I just don't want to give you some half-assed test to say, oh yeah, these are the numbers. I want to give you a very good test from raw power to boosted power to undervolting and all that good stuff for sure to see how well this RX 9070 XT really does perform compared to something like the 4090, which I currently have. So that'll be interesting. Hey, what's up, Rex? Good to see you. Good to see you back. But it's hopefully you guys have been having a much better day than I have. I have not been feeling it great. I somehow got sick yesterday. What CPU did I pair with? It was the 9600X, because reason being is because we wanted to do a budget PC build, so we wanted to make sure that it was a much lower end of the bargain, especially for those who are trying to build a PC that don't have as much money. So you can certainly build a PC cheaper than RTX 5090, ironically. Of course you can, but the most expensive parts, I gotta say, of that PC build, which you can always switch out. Thanks, Rex. Yeah, I hope so too. I got sick 3 times this year. You believe it? It's the most I've been sick in a long time. Also, with the most expensive parts where you could swap out is always the graphics card, which is I ended up getting the Sapphire Nitro RX 9070 XT, but at least it was still under well under $1,000. It was only $770, and then the other expensive component that's in this build is also the PSU, which is $240 240 or 250. It was, and it's a Seasonic 80 plus platinum power supply. And the good thing about it, the reason why I wanted to get it with that is because I wanted to make sure that it is power efficient. So even though you're using 100% power on that PC, it will save 90% energy by, even though you're at that high of usage. So even if you're at the lower end of the usage, you'll be at 95% power efficiency. So you'll always save energy. So you'll spend a lot of money at first on the power supply, and it'll be a very good quality power supply, but it will last. My 9070 XT build with the 9070X is a 9700X is a good match. The CPU runs around 60% when GPU is maxed out. That's excellent. Yeah, that's definitely a great match of power for sure. And if you can get the 9000 series, I certainly highly recommend it. And they are it's a great generation, 100% a great generation. And the good thing is, even if you choose to go AM5, it's also said that they are going to build a 10th generation for AM5. So you don't have to go to AM6 just yet. AM6 is still going, of course, going to be in production and everything. But from what AMD is saying, that Ryzen 10,000 series will be also in the AM5 line. Left out, I'm out here trying to build a 6600 with, hey, there's nothing wrong with that, Fiery. That's a great way to start. It's better than nothing, I'll tell you that. And you'll still outperform a console. I gotta say, you'll still outperform a PS5 or a Xbox Series X. And you don't have to pay for internet. And it's going to be, I bet your build is, you could get it for very low. And but with the 6600, which motherboard are you pairing it with, Fiery? I gotta know. Oh, yeah, it's a great way to start. AM4 is a great line to start up with. It's going to be a little bit different than what it is on the AM5. AM5s, they're similar to the Intel builds though, because of the way the sockets are. With AM4s, it's you have the pins on the actual processor, and you actually have the socket. Like, it's literally like a socket where you just drop it in, and it's very easy, very good, easy to install that way. The Prime B50s, yeah, that's a good motherboard too. Why not the 5600X? Are the prices for that far out? That's a good question. I haven't looked at the 5000 series, but yeah, it's definitely better to go X if you can, because you can have more flexibility, and you have PBO and everything also on it too, which is nice. And what that is, it's precision boost overclock. So it's kind of like all you have to do is enable it, and you enable your X, not for what is it, for AM4 it's something else, but you enable your dual channel, and you'll take advantage of those speeds for sure. But yeah, 6600 XT. 6600 XT is a good GPU for certain. Yeah, the CPU. Yeah, definitely the CPU he's talking about. I did build a few years ago for my nephew. It was the 5600X. He got a 4060 for it. Oh, he's still good for it. The 5600X and the 4060, they paired together well, for sure. And what you just have to be careful is you don't want to go to the mega low end, where it's just like the bare ones, where it's if you're getting, say, a 5600X, and then you're trying to pair it to like a 5080, it's never a good idea, or like a 5090, because then you'll experience bottlenecking. Then you won't get full advantage of those speeds. It'll just kind of throttle practically. Hey, what's up, Skyward King? We're just talking about builds right now. We're talking about PC builds, what type of PC builds we can put together, or upgrades, or anything like that. And in particular, we just talked about the PC build that we did for the past month. Everything that we purchased at Micro Center is finally put together. The build will officially be out this Saturday on YouTube. It will be out at 8 a.m. Hopefully you guys don't miss it. It's going to be quite the build. It's Also not going to be lengthy. I also have a guide for those who are interested in building AM5, which is going to be the 9800 X3D build. If you look at that, it's a much more deeper guide. It's like a 50-minute video and it explains how to put it together. Compared to this guy, this one's more like put together just to see how it looks. And I tried to compress it to make it nice and sweet, short and sweet as possible. Do you think ARM processors will ever take out over the market if they can figure out heavier GPU loading? It's hard to say because, see, the thing with ARM processors, they're more about efficiency than anything. It's almost not necessary to that point. But I can say you do have like APUs out. That's the closest thing to ARM processors. And it's hard for me to see ARM really competing. I could see NVIDIA like wanting to go to the processing market, but even then, they said that they were going to go to the market, and I don't know if they really are. And they said that they were interested in it this year. It would be nice to see some Snapdragon processors for PCs to see how well that would do. But that's the problem mostly. It's just there's a lot of red tape around it currently. So, but I don't think they're worried about ARM processors yet. I think right now they're currently more focused on areas like the CAM, like the CAM memory for PCs currently, where it's like instead of just clicking in the CAM, it's almost like an SSD you install. But yeah, Snapdragon would be pretty amazing if they did choose to go that route. I think they would make some excellent chipsets. It's just that they would just have to figure out how to work together and how to figure out Windows together too, and it's a lot of steps because you got Windows, you also got your games as well that's trying to run off your GPU. You just got to make sure it doesn't go to the Snapdragon processor. But I can see it eventually, but probably not immediately. You know what's interesting though, for sure? Agree, exactly. That's the thing. It's just the software and emulation for ARM. Yeah, and you know what's interesting is for those who have like an ASUS ROG Ally, recently they put SteamOS on it, and it seems like it's been working really well. So if you're interested in putting SteamOS onto the Ally, you certainly can. But of course, it's just like Linux, and Linux. SteamOS is the Linux version of the Steam version, really. So you can put it into your ASUS ROG Ally currently, and it's apparently flawless. And also, they also have the, I hope they do it for Windows, and just more compatibility with games. Just get rid of Windows overall, but I'm sure Microsoft wouldn't be happy about that. So, Dave S says, fiery, I see the pricing now. 5600X got too popular, and price never really dropped. Oh, really? 5500 is great for a budget at 75. That's a good point. So if it's definitely the best you can get, just go with the 5600X then, for sure. I mean, 5500. Because I would assume there was I remember there was that posting too where there was a Walmart that was trying to get rid of, I think it was 5800 X3Ds. They were selling it like for $99, which was insane. But it's really hard to try to pick something like that up now, I bet. And I would imagine there's probably not a large supply like there was before, like when it came to the 5000 series. I saw a few like when I was at Micro Center, but I didn't really get to see what exactly they had left when it came to the 5000 series. But for sure, it's a great generation to start off at PC Build with if you've never built a PC before. And it'll be a lot of fun. You'll get, like, once you do it, you'll want to do it again. You'll just want to build another PC. That's just how it is. But definitely pair some great RAM with it. Usually, I gotta say too, if you're pairing a AM4 board, I would say get some 3200 megahertz of RAM with it, of DDR4. You could go with G.Skill has some great RAM sets. And they also have Corsairs, of course. You also have Vipers. They also have theirs. And I, who else was it? Team Group also has some great RAM as well too for it. And you can just go PCI Express. I think they have PCI Express 4 you can take advantage of too. And especially now it's cheap. And again, with the case, definitely go to the Montech Air 3. It's a great case. It's definitely a great case because again, you're not going to spend over $100 on it. It's like 75 bucks. And what else? And the cooler, if you go cooler, you could go air cooled. If you really want to save some money, go Noctua. Noctua is a great CPU cooler. And Be Quiet also comes out with some great ones. Be Quiet has a great one where it's the Dark Pro 3 now they have, and you can purchase that for under $100 as well. Or if you want to go AIO, they certainly have some. Go 240 millimeter radiator because you'll be good with that. You go 240 millimeter AIO, and you'll be pretty much good to go. Whichever brand that you decide to go with, whether it's Corsair or whether you go with even Razer makes them. I'm really interested to seeing how Razer's AIOs are though. But Razer even makes some. Lee makes some great AIOs as well. But you can certainly, everything that I'm mentioning here, you could definitely get under $100 for sure. So your build you could definitely do for probably like maybe, I'm assuming, what is it, like 700 or 800 even? You might be able to take advantage of it. And that's the price of like a PS5 Pro, which is pretty crazy. Also the power supply, if you choose to get it for that system, you can definitely take advantage of like a gold power supply if you don't want to spend money on a platinum power supply at first, which is understandable because platinum you're going to spend a lot more money on it, but it's super power efficient if you care about your electric bill. You can, if you get a platinum power supply, as I mentioned, you'll save about 95% efficiency, energy efficiency at like up to 50 to 60% loads. And then from there on, you could go to like between 90%, like when it goes platinum. But if you go gold, it's a little bit less. It's like 90% efficiency when you hit about like under 60%. And then once you go over 60%, then it becomes like about like 87.5%. But it all depends on the power supply that you choose. And there's a ton of great ones. Seasonic is great. They also have Corsair. The thermal take is good. ASUS has one, but some of them, a lot of them borrow from Seasonic, to be honest. And Seasonic's the best source to go to. Yeah, he's getting a little impatient, so he's trying to. Sometimes he'll scratch up the floor. Talking about my dog here, by the way. He'll try to scratch up the floor and lay on it. Had to take a sip. My throat's getting a little bit dry, and my nose is getting a little stuffy there. But yeah, you can definitely take advantage of a build just like that for sure. I'm excited for you. I can't wait to see it. When you have this build done, definitely post it on the Discord. And if you guys aren't part of the Discord channel, make sure you join it. It's down in the description box. I love talking to you guys. We can talk about more PC and tech stuff. You can post your PC photos and everything of your builds. Post up your benchmarks. You got to show what you have. And also, again, with this build, I'm very excited because everybody picked out their parts. All the fan band that was with us during the live stream all picked out the parts. So I'm happy that we'll have this PC built together. So it's really built by the fan band because all you guys picked out the different parts. The only ones that we received from ASUS, again, were the B850 motherboard, and we also received the cooler from them, but everything else was picked. And I had to even randomly pick the card that I was getting, the 9070 XT, because it was a hassle trying to get it. So luckily managed to get it. And but that when it came in, I was nervous because that box came in wrecked. It looked like it really fell off a truck. It literally did, because I even got a when I tracked it, it said that it didn't make it on the freight truck, and it certainly didn't, because that box was practically crushed. It looked like FedEx, was it for I think it was FedEx. FedEx like ran over the box or something, because you can see like a big tape right across the box, and I was nervous. I was thinking that this GPU might be damaged, but upon opening it, Newegg actually packed it really well. They put a bunch of airbags in there, and it was actually in decent shape. The box was actually in excellent shape, better than I thought it was going to be. But uh, but that turned out pretty good. Also, and with this PC build, I haven't just quite benched it yet. I managed to install Windows and everything for it. And if you guys are just getting an AMD CPU, by the way, if you are getting one, it might involve the 5000 series too. I'm not sure if it does. But if you are planning to get a processor, it does come with Monster Hunter's Wilds. So it does come with it. And same thing if you choose to get AMD Radeon 7000 series. Unfortunately, the 9000 series, they won't give out Monster Hunter's Wilds. I don't know why. It would be a great addition to purchasing one. It would be nice, but unfortunately, it doesn't come with Monster Hunter's Wilds. So, but those two hardware items from AMD, they certainly do. And also, if you have an ASRock board, let me know. Put one in the comments to let me know, because so I can mention it to you guys about what's going on with the ASRock boards, because it's sort of funny, but sort of scary at the same time, especially if you guys already have one. Because the funny thing is, ASRock investigated this issue with the boards, and if you haven't heard about the 9800 X3D chipsets burning out the processors, what they did was they investigated it as ASRock, and they brought it back to the lab. So they looked at it thoroughly, and I guess they came back out with the discovery saying that it was because the socket was dirty, that there was something on it. That's what caused the burnout. It wasn't because of a BIOS update. It wasn't because of anything like that. Instead, you just have to clean the debris off of your socket, which doesn't make any sense. And I'm sure all of you who have built PCs before have never experienced a burnout socket before with the CPU with dust, because I've never had that happen. I don't know if that's happened to anybody. Please let me know. And if it did, I could be dead wrong, because I've never seen that actually happen. But if you're gonna clean it, do not try to clean a socket with a toothbrush. You're going to bend those pins, because on the AM5 boards, it's the exact opposite of AM4. So it's going to have the pins. On the actual on the socket of the motherboard compared to being on the processor. So don't try to use a toothbrush to clean the socket, because you're gonna definitely bend those pins, and that's not going to be very good, because you're gonna have to try to straighten them out perfectly straight again to try to install the processor, or you're gonna have to send it in to get the socket replaced, which is gonna suck. You're gonna have to spend maybe $100 or $150 for them to replace something like that. And so don't do that. If you do want to clean off debris, just in case, if you do get an ASRock board for some reason, just use canned air. Use something that you usually use, like for your keyboard or something, to spray onto the motherboard. Because if you don't use if you use the canned air, you're less likely to bend anything, of course, and there would be less damage, because you're just using air. Just don't put it so close to where you're gonna bend the pins. That's the only suggestion. I wouldn't do it. But technically, if it were me, I wouldn't even do that anyway. I would do it from a very far distance. And I wouldn't, again, I've never experienced a short because of dust on the processor, on the processor side. But again, I could be wrong because of it. And for those who have the X870E motherboards, for those who have the ASUS motherboards with the quick release, they do have a update for it, and the newer motherboards, they will not have this metal bar that they have inside of the bus. Now they kind of like practically got rid of it. It's very thin now, so it's very easy to remove, because before it would get stuck on there. And because it would get stuck, then it wouldn't be able to release. Especially in certain cases, it would be very hard to pull out a card. Like I'm looking at the case that I have currently, and I'm thinking that would probably be pretty tough to pull out. I haven't attempted to try yet, but I would imagine so, because you got to pull from the backside of the GPU in order to pull it out. Let me see here. And hang on, guys. Just gotta make sure. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Ooh. Yeah, so that's what's been going on so far in the PC tech world so far. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can ask me anything, because of course I'm here to help. Or you can ask. I need to get water because I'm dying here. And my dog's knocked out too, because he's trying to find the perfect place to land, because he's always trying to find the perfect spot for some reason on the floor, and then usually he'll either lay under the desk or he'll lay right by this table for some reason. But he'll be right in the area where I'm trying to walk, and if he's there, then I can't go get what I need to get. So, but with this whole war with this whole NVIDIA and AMD thing, I gotta say, what are your guys' thoughts of it? You gotta let me know, because it's pretty crazy, because you have people that will just be diehard NVIDIA fans that just will not admit that AMD really did good this year. They honestly did. They did excellent. In fact, they did so well that they ended up having 10 times more the sales than the RTX 5070 Ti's. And because of that, they ended up wanting to have a successor for the RX 9070 XT. So we could see a RX 9080 coming in eventually. It could happen. But when would it happen? Or maybe it wouldn't be in this generation. Maybe it would be in the next. Maybe it'll be within the next year. But again, NVIDIA will release their super cards, and we don't know what they're going to feature. I could see them featuring the two 12-volt high-power ports instead of just having the one. But we'll see how that works, because, again, we'll probably see an update with a lot of PSUs out there. Not a lot of PSUs have support for two 12-volt high-power ports, unless you have a high-powered rated one where it's like 1600 watts, like the Thermaltake one. I know they certainly have it, where they have dual 12-volt high-power ports in it. But again, that one's rated at 1600 watts. I'm sure that if you get, like, either if you go Seasonic and you get a higher rated one, you're going to certainly see it too, for sure. But also, another great thing too to watch out for when you do purchase, just make sure to really watch the type of RAM that you get for the PC build, because you want to make sure that you get some decent latency outside of it. And if you do, depending on what you pair it with, if you go AM5, basic rule is to get into those infinity cache numbers, just so to say, it's just go 6000 CL30. The easiest numbers to remember. Or you go, so Dave S says, I switched from Intel NVIDIA to AMD. All other builds since 2016 were Intel and NVIDIA. Oh, wow. That's great. I personally loved Intel, especially when it came to the Alder Lake side. I felt that their CPUs are they're great, especially when it comes to content creation, or if you use it for something like gaming or anything like that. They're excellent to do, especially when you are pairing it with NVIDIA. They just pair really well together. I gotta say, Dave, which processor do you have now? Is it? Because I'm just curious, and because with Intel, I've noticed, like, once I hit 13 to the 14th gen, like, they had some little issues, like with the Raptor Lake refreshes when it came with the voltage issues. Like, sometimes it would use up a lot more voltage, more than you would think. But you gotta let me know if you had any of those issues, or if it was just more of a BIOS related issues, because I remember some specific boards had it. So 9700X. Oh, that's right. That's right. Sorry about that, Dave. You had a 9700X with 9070 XT. That's definitely a really good build, because I got to see your benchmarks too, because I'm curious about them. My newest Intel was the 10400. Yeah, I think that was like the last golden era when it came to Intel, was around that 9th and 10th generation. And I'm sure you remember this too, Dave, that like back then, what they would say is that AMD is a company where they would glue the chipsets. But then instead, when they looked into Intel, it ended up they were gluing the dies themselves onto their chipsets. And then from there, they kind of just fell apart from 10th gen to the 11th gen. It was until the 12th gen, till things got a little bit better, at least, because they had those hybrid processors. But because but yeah, back then they kind of really messed up. I think it was when they really started going downhill was the 8th gen, and then it started going downhill from there. But it was quite crazy. A lot of people lost faith in Intel, and now most people practically stay away from them, and for good reason. They lost a lot of trust in a lot of people, especially for what they were producing, especially that they were caught like practically like putting a new generation, saying it's a new generation, but really it's like the same chipset. So it doesn't make any sense at all. And yeah, even, but I gotta, yeah, Intel certainly has dropped the ball for sure. And they made a mess of themselves. They're not the company that they were at all. But hopefully over time they definitely improve. For some reason, I can see them improving after the next year. But we'll see. We'll see due time to see if they really get the much more improvements that they need. There was a lot of hope when they came with like all different signs of Intel improving, where when they came with like the different L4 cache, like how they were talking about that, or they had different type of gimmicks that they wanted you to draw into Intel, but they never really pulled anything off. It almost seemed like I don't know what they did. They kind of just fell off on that side. But I gotta say, if you have an AM5 board, it's certainly a magnificent board to take advantage of. You take full advantage of a different. There's just so much more flexibility when it comes to it, especially now when it comes to the whole gaming side, for sure. Where if you're streaming or whether you're doing content creation, and the temperatures has been steadily improving over the 7000 series. The 9000 series is even better. They managed to get even cooler. So I just imagine that they would just figure out how to continually give us power, but with less power, if that makes sense. It's just like how it's so much easier. Like when we focus on AMD's products, for sure, we don't focus on overvolting anymore. We want to undervolt. So as you want to get you want to get better speeds, but undervolting, that's really the key. Before it was all about trying to get more voltage and more power, but not no more. Not with AMD, at least. So that's always been the great part of being part of the AMD side, and the flexibility of how much easier it is to really modify the overclocking. You could go into the PBO very easily. You can go into change the curve optimizations. It's so much more you can do with AMD now. I'll be right back, fellas. Fam, guys. I just gotta grab some water. My throat's really killing me. Apologize for this. And this little guy. Well, of course, you gotta watch it. I'll show you him in just a moment. Right now he has his eyes peeled up at me. Oh, there you go. I like to build for efficiency. I agree. That's the best way to do it. Best way to build is through efficiency, because the thing is, why would you want to build for more power? It just turns into practically a heater inside of your room, and it's definitely a lot more quiet too when you do build for efficiency, because when you're undervolting, you're not taking up as much temperatures as well compared to overvolting where it's constantly getting hot, and you have to have it either. That's the purpose of water cooling. It's almost like at this point we're at the point where we don't really need as much water cooling. We'll need, you know, it's funny though. We're gonna need water cooling for the 12-volt high power ports if it continues this way. But with the 5090s, that's just ridiculous. How much power is going through that card? 525 watts. That's just not good. And AMD has done really good when it comes to power efficiency, and that's what I appreciate about them the most. I gotta say for sure. And with the upcoming build, I'm definitely going to try to undervolt it as much as I can just to see how far I can really push it. I'm excited to see what this Sapphire Nitro Plus can really do. It comes with the factory settings of 3.4 gigahertz. So just to see how well this pushes. And I'll be pushing it more, I'll be pushing it more than likely through Monster Hunter's Wilds to see what we can really get. Because I know it's been pretty demanding, especially a lot of Unreal 5 games. And Dave, are you also playing on a ultra-wide, is it? Or are you playing on a 4K monitor out of curiosity? Because I'd love to know. And because currently I have it hooked up right now on a 1440p monitor. I have it hooked up to a Predator monitor that I used to use. And that's practically like my test monitor to see exactly how the resolution is. I got to get another one here, a 4K monitor, just to see how well it performs then. Because I would love to see how well a 9070 XT could do. And but I gotta say, it's super quiet once you turn on the build. You don't really hear any noise. The fans are surprisingly quiet. I got a 4K OLED running ultra settings. Oh wow, that's excellent. Monster Hunter Wilds running at 70 FPS. That is impressive, Dave. Keep it up. I gotta give my hands up for you for sure. Just got this panel last Sunday. Oh really? Oh wow. I'm excited to play it for sure. I haven't got to play Monster Hunter's Wilds, but I've heard great things about it. I played the beta, and it's funny. Like to go through the process of unlocking it to activate it, I had to finish this build up in order for me to actually activate the LG C4 OLED Evo. Oh, nice. That's a great set display. Yeah, that's a very large display. I have the one I have is I still got the LG's. I think I got the LG C2. I think it's the LG C2. I could be wrong. It might be the C1 even. But I love their displays. LG makes some excellent displays. Every year they're always doing something impressive, especially when it comes to their tech. And I can't wait to see what they will feature. Same. I got the code with my CPU at the yeah. So you know exactly what I'm talking about, Dave. It's just like and it was at first it was giving me a little bit of an issue because every time I would go into the browser or like when I went to go download the verification tool, it would have an issue. It would say that some sort of the DLL would not be installed properly or would not open. So I went to different browsers. I had to turn off the antivirus that it came with, and I also had to. There was something else that I did. I think I had to turn off my VPN service, and then finally it let me unlock it. I had to go through some hoops in order to unlock it, but hopefully yours was a lot more smoother than mine's because I had so many different safeguards that it didn't really allow me to install it at first. And even Windows didn't want to open up the verification tool. It said that it thought it was some intrusive. Oh, so you had the same issues. So you know exactly what I mean. Even it wasn't. Didn't you notice too that Windows didn't even want to open it? It just gave you that screen where it said that it went to. It said that it wasn't sure what type of program it was. It thought it was some sort of hacker. I don't even know what the key move was. Yeah, that's what I mean. I just did that. I got lost in it. That's because I think I was trying to unlock that code for like a good 30 minutes at least, trying to figure out what the problem was. And I was yeah, I was trying to reach, bro. I was reaching through all different avenues to try to get this code because I just wanted to get Monster Hunter's Wilds. Because before there was a game that I never unlocked either. Yes. They need to update that process. Exactly. It's just like RMA. That's how it felt like. It was just this a reach for sure. I don't know what they were thinking. Also, the funny thing is, I've also lost the code before too. I think when I did the 7950 X3D, I think it was that build. Or no, when I installed that processor, it wasn't a build. I just installed the processor. I had the a Jedi Survivor code, and I never got to unlock it. Like I just noticed it. It's funny. I never knew that I had a game with it until 6 months later. But after the 6 months passed, and I tried to unlock it, they never gave me the game. They said that that code was already expired. I was so pissed about it. That code was already expired. Can you believe it? Can you imagine just getting some hardware that you were promised a game with, and then you find out that you had this game, and then you just couldn't get the game? It was just terrible. It makes no sense. Why put an expiration on it? It's not like you got rid of your hardware. It's still there. I guess it's their way of trying to not give away so many codes that they can reuse it. Yeah, so that sucked. I was hoping to be able to take advantage of that code while I could. But I hopefully, and I will also be going live again. Also this weekend, I will be going live this time at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So Eastern time anyway, by the way. So I'll be going live then, and it'll be right after I post up the build at 8 a.m. Eastern time. I will post up the PC build, and it will be as everything as I mentioned. It's going to be quite exciting. I'm sure you guys will really enjoy it, especially that it's something different. We don't really typically AMD is one of those underrated GPUs that a lot of people haven't really given a chance, but this time I feel like is a great year for them. And you got to give them a chance, especially if you're one of those people out there that were thinking of getting the 50 series. Just try to get an AMD card. You will certainly be pleased. You see how happy Dave is with his. He's getting 70 frames out of 4K. That's excellent. That is some excellent frames that he is pulling out of it. And also, AMD is definitely one of those games that you can certainly you can take advantage of all the games that you can imagine. Most games really have the capabilities now of all RDNA 4 games, and certainly take a look into it. And you'd be surprised just how good their cards are. They're really that great. And no, I am not a shill for AMD. I am not sponsored by AMD, so I'll tell you that right off the bat. So don't worry about that. Also, same thing with NVIDIA. I'm mostly not an affiliate with a lot of these companies. The only ones I dealt with is ASUS, and that's it so far. But to just give you some clarity, to be 100% clear with you guys, just in case if you're wondering if I'm talking for any company. So same thing, but also when it comes to AMD, you also spend a lot less money on their cards, and you can get some great performance out of it. You get some great temperatures, and it runs silent for the most part. If you notice, like a lot of GPUs, especially if you get it from some sort of from another AIB, like some cards could even feature like coil line, which could be annoying. but a lot of AMD cards don't have those type of issues from what I'm seeing so far. And I really can't wait to really push those numbers and really put some benchmarks on. But I gotta say, I'm curious about how hot it's gonna get too. I'm just staring at the PC because it's right next to me, and I really can't wait to show you guys. But it will be revealed certainly for Saturday, and I want to post pictures up so bad because I know everybody put their heart into it and everybody had something to say about it. And the 9070 XT Ace Rock Tai Chi doesn't even get over 60 degrees Celsius in temps. That's even the crazy part is the RTX 4090, it just idles at like 50. That's like normal, which is the funny part. Not 59. The RTX 4090 idles like at 50 degrees Celsius. Isn't that insane? And your graphics card is working and it's getting only 60 degrees temperature. That's excellent. I can't wait to see the temperatures. And that's 340 watts. That's very impressive, for sure. And but I appreciate everyone who's come out to the live stream. And right now I'm just about to, let's see, any updates on the RX 90 series laptops this year? I don't like NVIDIA at all. So currently, I haven't heard anything, but I can tell you right now, Bachata's, that there will be, I'm certain that there will be laptops by sometime in the summer. Usually, and AMD usually releases them then. It's like summer, like almost like back to school time too. Around that time, they usually push out their laptops, but I feel like that's a work in progress, and they usually work great together. I'd say keep an eye on it, but I agree. Nvidia's, I've tried their laptops before, and it's not the greatest. You just got your first gaming PC. Oh, congratulations, Casa. Hopefully you love it. What type of games are you playing on it, and what is your build? Gotta know, because I love hearing all these different builds. Feel free to post it on Discord as well, because I just opened up a Discord channel just a month ago. No problem, Bachatas. No problems at all. Don't you hate that feeling when you get sick and you got the one side starting to get stuffy? That's what I'm starting to feel. Yeah, but it's great to get a gaming PC build. You don't have to pay for any extra charges. No more paying any every month or every year for PS Plus or getting Xbox Game Pass or any of that anymore. You just have internet that's just built in. You just go in and play. It's definitely quite the difference, and that's a big game saver too, for sure. Because now you don't have to rely on other servers. Because there would be times where you would go on PS5 servers and they would be down. You have no choice. You can't play anything. But with PC, you don't have to worry about that. Fortunately, same thing goes with when it comes to the same exact thing comes to Xbox. Like you might go into Xbox's servers and then they're down and you don't have any choice. But the good thing is when you're on a PC, you don't have to worry about that. There's a lot of dedicated servers. And there's a ton of free games, a lot of indie games for sure too. And they're not expensive and you can take full advantage of them. And there's a lot of games, just like you can spend like easily like $10 on a game and you get this great game. Ryzen 3 3600, 16 gigabytes, DDR4 RAM, 252. Okay, that's a great way to start off. RX Radeon RX 580, 80 gigabytes. Okay. That's not bad. And again, a lot of those indie games, they don't require a lot of high specifications either. You don't need a 5090 to play a lot of those type of games. But I mean, it's a great way to start off with for sure. But I'm just about to step off, guys. Yeah. That's why I want to get this. But for those who are just joining in, I'm Chris Mizo. I talk about PCs and tech, and make sure to go down to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already to join the big wonderful fan band. Also join the Discord channel. Join us, talk with us, show us your PCs. We love to hear about it. Also, I'm doing a giveaway too with a Samsung 990 Pro. Hopefully one of you guys win it. The good thing about this this SSD that I'm giving, it does have the heatsink with it. So if you do choose to put it in a console, you certainly can. Or you can put it in a PC, but again, I don't recommend putting it with the I don't recommend putting the heatsink on with the PC if you decide to do that. Yes, certainly, Dave. Yeah, I probably don't sound so great now, and I apologize for that. And I'll keep the energy for you guys, but feel free, join the giveaway. And I am giving some Jonas teas soon. And I thank you all for your well wishes. And thank you guys so much again for joining the stream. I really love you guys for being part of this wonderful fan band. And feel free to just hit me up on Discord. I'll answer back as soon as I can. And also, I love hearing from you guys. Let me know about your builds. Feel free to ask questions. I'm not afraid to answer anything. Don't be afraid to ask. I promise I won't. I will respond eventually. If I don't respond right away, forgive me about that. Thanks, Casa. I appreciate it. But congratulations once again on your build, Casa. That's an excellent way to start off with. And welcome to the world of PC gaming. Thank you guys again so much for coming in to this stream once again. See you guys next time.